Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today's video, we're going to be taking a look at a switch panel for off-roading lights and much more from Auxbeam. So let's get right into it. Okay, so to get things started, we're going to take a look at what is inside of the box right here on the tabletop. I'm going to go through each component, show you guys what's included, and then I'm going to talk about what it's designed for. I think we already know it is mainly marketed for vehicles, but it can also be used for many other applications. Some applications that I really wish Auxbeam would actually advertise, because your imagination realistically is the limit to this product. And then I'm actually going to be installing it in my truck. I already have a couple of Auxbeam products on the front. I'm going to get all of this wired in and show you guys the final setup and how it works. So let's get this box open and see what's inside. Okay, so opening up the box and all of the contents, it is very nicely packed inside of there. Now this is a multi-switch unit. This current model has 6 switches. However, there is another version of this that has 8 switches. So first thing out of the box is the actual switch panel. This thing is incredibly small and compact. It features 6 on and off switches and a power switch to turn all of them on or off. And we'll talk more about that later on. One thing I do want to point out is there's only one cable coming out of this 6 switch panel, which is the reason why I wanted this product. So there's the first item out of the box, the control panel. We then have a whole bunch of labeled stickers because we can label each button for different functions. So we'll take a closer look at that in a little bit as well. We have the instructions, which is important to have. We then have a whole bunch of cables. So here I've got an extension cable, and then I've got the actual module itself, which is going to be mounted underneath of the hood. So this is kind of the heart of the operations here. So we have 2 cables coming out of this. We've got the cable that basically goes to the control panel. We've got a positive lead, which is going to go to the positive terminal of our 12-volt battery. We then have a ACC cable, which is going to be paired in there, so when we turn the key on the truck, the module will turn on. And then inside of here, we have all of the fuses, all the connections, all of the relays already wired and ready to go, which makes this product extremely easy to set up. And then we have an ACC cable for piggybacking power off of a fuse, which is what we're actually going to be using for my setup. We have a sticky back piece of 3M tape, so if you do want to stick this, you can actually stick it to a dash on a truck or wherever the surface that you want to mount that to, you can stick it. However, there is a much better way to mount it inside of here. We have a 2-plate metal system where we can actually screw the panel to this, assemble it, and then it tilts and rotates, which is exactly what I'm most likely going to be doing. We will have a look inside of my truck and see what it looks like, but I'm pretty sure that's what I'm going to be using. We then have a bag of hardware and tools to complete the setup. We have a whole bunch of extra fuses, different power. So we got a 10 amp, a 20 amp, a 5, a 30, and another 20 and another 10. So we have a bunch of fuses in there to help with the install. And then we have a whole bunch of plastic zip ties to keep cables neat and tidy. So I'm just going to place those back in the box, bring you guys in for a close-up and see what we're working with here, and then we're going to talk about some of the features. Okay guys, here we have a stick-on pack of stickers essentially, and this goes on to the control module buttons. This will show you guys some of the possibilities that you can use this for. So here we got a hood light, we got a fuel 1 or a fuel 2, possibly fuel pumps. We have rear lights, we have front and rear diff, air, whip, we've got fan, horn, all kinds of possibilities that you can wire into this switch panel. Here we have a detailed look at the component that goes underneath of the hood of the vehicle, and I've got the top off of it right now just to give you guys an inside look. Now this product actually has a relay and a fuse for each of the 6 connections individually. You could tailor the fuses to your needs, and you can even replace or tailor these relays to your needs, and these are really important. I'm going to talk about these in just a moment. And then here we have the 6 inputs for the power only and the negative, which would go to the ground or the negative terminal. So it's only 1 wire per device going into this actual box itself. All right, and here we have a look at the actual control panel that controls the 6 functions plus an on or off switch to turn them all on or them all off. This is the piece that we'll be mounting inside of my truck as a control panel with only 1 wire lead coming out of it, making it a very clean install. Okay, so moving forward from our tabletop look, I give you guys a detailed look at some of the major components. So we took a look at the control panel, and this is the #1 reason why I wanted this product, because I have a lot of lights that are on my truck, on my overland build, and I don't want to have a whole bunch of holes drilled in my dash and all these wires running in and out and all over the place just to mount 6 items. I can have one neat control panel and one wire lead for 6 items. That is a huge game changer to me, and it's super small. I mean, look at the size of this compared to my cell phone. This is an S9 Plus cell phone. I mean, it's very, very small and very compact, which makes it ideal for my personal setup. Now, I did mention that this can be marketed for other things. As long as this power box is wired to a 12-volt battery, your imagination is the limit. So we can have this in an RV trailer, we can mount it in a truck, we can even mount it in a house that has a solar panel build set up with a battery unit and a charge controller. I could put this in an off-grid cabin. If I had a hunting cabin, I could mount this inside right where my 12-volt battery is and have a central smart switch panel in the cabin. So if I wanted to program one button for perimeter lighting outside of the cabin, I can do that. If I have interior lighting as well, we could put that on a switch. If I have a fan, I could put the fan on a switch. If I'm running a shower and I need water from a pump, basically, if I need to pump water, I can have a switch for the pump. There are endless things that you can do with this, not just mounting it in a vehicle. So I believe marketing could take a twist with this and actually kind of gear it more towards all kinds of devices rather than just in a truck. So let's go get this wired up and show you guys what I'm working with. Alright guys, so here we are the very next day. It poured with rain and I was not able to film everything. So this is currently the next day. As you guys can see, I've got my spotlights already mounted to my grill. I also have some hood mounted lights right up here known as ditch lights. So that's the lighting that I have on the truck right now, which is only going to occupy 2 out of those 6 switches. Plus I have under rock light kit for the truck as well, but that's not going to be tied into that switch. So what I want to talk about is how I installed the 6-gang switch panel and what I've got running on it, and then I want to take you inside of the truck and show you how that switch panel works. Alright, so having a look under the hood of my truck, this is the control panel for the Auxbeam switches. And as you guys can see, I have 2 positive leads going in for 2 devices. So one is for my ditch lights, the other is for my grill mounted spotlights. And I've screwed this to the side of my frame of the truck, just above the actual fuse panel to the truck itself. I'm just trying to get this top cover off of here to show you guys what the inside looks like. So here are my 2 positive leads, and then I have my ground leads right here. So the only thing that actually goes to the box is positive, everything else is grounded. Inside of my fuse panel to my truck is where I connected the ACC cable, and I'll talk more about that once we get inside of the truck and out of the wind. Here you can see the main power lead coming off of my battery, and then the switch panel, which is going to go, or the cable that goes to the switch panel. Everything is really nice and modular and simple. Cover this back up so it's water sealed, and right now I just have my wires kind of tucked in here because I am going to be adding more devices to this as they arrive in the mail. Okay guys, so now that we're inside of the truck and out of the wind, I can explain this a little bit better. So what I chose to do is wire up 2 devices to my switch panel currently, my ditch lights and my spotlights, giving me 4 switches remaining for many other items, which I am going to be adding as they arrive in the mail. So what this does is it's basically tied into an ACC cable. What the ACC cable is accessory. So when you turn your key on your ignition to the ACC, basically your dash will come on, your radio will come on, all of those functions will come on, and then when you start your vehicle, those items will remain on. That is the ACC. So my particular truck, in the fuse panel underneath of the hood, there was a fuse that was actually labeled ACC, and it goes to my radio and whatnot. So I just tapped into that, replacing the actual fuse with the ACC plug, and then the fuse plugs into that plug. So essentially you're piggybacking off of that fuse, and that's what gives me my switch control for when I put my key in and turn it to ACC, turning on the Auxbeam switch panel. So what that means is the underglow lights that I have on my truck, my rock lights, I'm going to leave those off of that switch panel. It's really important for me because I have to have the key in the ignition turned on to access any power to the 6 switch panel from Auxbeam. And my rock lights I actually use as perimeter lighting outside of my truck when I'm at camp. So I like to open up my door reach in and flick on the switch, which I have hardwired down next to my steering wheel. That turns on my lights, and then I can see around the truck without having to put my key in the ignition. So I'm going to leave that off the switch panel for now. Currently I just have 2 devices. As I said, there will be more. So I just want to cover that. If you are going to be wiring in a fridge and you're thinking, geez, I want that to be powered on, or whatever devices you're powering on, just keep in mind, if you run it through the ACC, you need your key in and clicked on to turn on the switch panel. So let me show you guys where I put it and how it works. All right, so total install time to basically wire in the lights and get the switch panel, which I put down here, only took about 30 to 40 minutes realistically, but then it took an extra 2 hours to actually mount this exactly where I wanted it, because I literally had to peel all of this trim work off. I had to drill in the back, I had to mount it, and it was a really, really in-depth job to get this exactly where I wanted it. But you guys can see, like me pushing on that is screwed in there. It's nice, tight, and secured, and there's only one wire lead, which is neatly tucked in behind for all 6 switches. So you'll notice right now, everything is turned off. I could press the buttons, nothing's gonna come on, because my keys are right here in my hand. Now, as I put this in the ignition, and I switch it to the ACC, you'll see that my little light down here turned on, my clock turned on, and our lights turned on as well, and I got my fan on, so I'll shut that off. The switch panel lights up. Now, there is an auto dimming feature on this. Right now it's lit up really bright because it's actually quite dark inside of the truck right now, but as you're driving, this will actually dim down so it's not so bright in your face. These 4 switches I've left blank for the time being. These 2 I've labeled with the included stickers. I have one labeled grill and the other is labeled hood, and that just corresponds with the 2 lights that I have inside of my truck right now, or mounted on the truck I should say. So if I start my vehicle, this will obviously stay on, and like I said, it will auto dim to wherever it needs to be. Now currently everything is off. If I press grill, the red light comes on, and those are my 2 spotlights on the grill. If I press hood, the hood lights now come on, so both lights are on. And then if I select this power off button, that shuts every device off on all 6 switches, and it has a memory, so I can press it on again, and you'll notice these 2 devices come back on. So if I turn the grill off and I want to shut everything off, just press the on off or press it back on, and that's the built-in memory. This is really handy if you're on a trail and you happen to be coming to a paved road section, or somebody is oncoming in your direction and you don't want to blind them. Instead of switching off every switch individually, you can just simply press the on or off button to shut everything off. Keep in mind, if you're going to be powering a fuel pump or a fan, this might not be a smart option to do if you need an external fan or a fuel pump to run. Whatever you got plugged in here, just keep in mind what this on and off switch will do. So if I come in a little closer with the camera, I can show you on. You guys can see the red light there. Hood light on. Shut each of them off individually, or like I said, the main power button will shut everything off and turn it back on to the memory where it left off. Alright, so I hope that demonstration kind of gives you guys an idea of what the switch panel can do, how it's installed. I wish I would have had a little bit more light and less rainfall to actually show you guys and walk you through the install. It is extremely simple though. The instructions that are included in the Auxbeam kit really do help, and there are online videos as well that you could check out. It is extremely simple to wire in, very, very easy. As I mentioned earlier, these are also from Auxbeam, and they are extremely bright. They shine 2 kilometers. These things are extremely tight spot pattern. Highly recommend those lights. Alright, so I hope this short and simple video gives you guys an idea of what the Auxbeam switch panel can do. I could make it longer, it would just be repetitive. It's literally an on-off switch that turns devices on and off. It's very simple, it's extremely easy to install. You guys seen it where I mounted it. It's very, very small, very simple. 1 panel, 1 wire, making everything really easy. So I highly recommend it. If you guys are interested in the switch panel or the lights that I put on the truck from Auxbeam, I will add the links down in the description, as there are many different models. So I'll include those so you guys can have a look at the exact items that I have in my truck. And you guys will be seeing more of it as we go on more overlanding truck camping trips. So if this was helpful to you guys, awesome. If not, let me know in the comment section. I'll do my best to answer additional questions. Until next time, peace out, and I'll see you in the next video.